Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am doing a challenge this year where I'm reading 24 books in a year, 24 books in 12 months. So I'm on my second book review. It's called Living with the Himalayan Masters by Swami Rama of India. Okay, so it's a first-hand account of his experience as an Indian, sage, as a yogi, as a spiritual guru. Okay, he said, "I will tell you how I grew up and how I was trained, about the great sages with whom I lived, and what they taught me, not through lectures and books, but through experience." Okay, so he begins with description of the Himalayan mountains. The beauty of the mountains is so captivating. So many poets, painters, all kinds of artists have been inspired by the mountains and have been stricken by the beauty of the Himalayan mountains. They stretch about 15,000 miles between Pakistan and India. And Mount Everest is part of the mountains. It's about 29,000 feet high, and that one stretches between Nepal and Tibet. The name Himalaya comes from the Sanskrit word Hima, meaning snow, and Alaya, which means home. So home of the snows. Okay, the one of my favorite descriptions that he of the mountains, I got really girly about this. Okay, this had me just going crazy because he was talking about the flowers and I love flowers, so I was like, oh my god. So lilies, he was talking about this special breed of lilies, the pink lilies that grew from 8 to 11,000 feet high. Okay, now that got me high. And then he was talking about orchids that grew between 4 to 6,000 feet high. Like, seriously? And they bloom from at least 2 months, like at least 2.5 months. That's the blooming season. I mean, that's crazy to me. And there is this special flower that he was talking about. It's called the Himkamal. It's a very rare flower. It's the snow lotus, and he found one that was the size of a saucer, and it was growing between two rocks in the snow. Like, it's just beautiful things that he's just describing here. But anyway, he lived in the mountains and he grew up from his childhood on. He was trained by his master, and then his master sent him to different other masters to learn different disciplines of philosophy, different schools of philosophy. He went into the world. He had a full life. To begin with, he said that the first thing that the sages teach you, the first thing they teach you is to overcome the delusion that is fear, to get rid of fear completely. So their aim is to learn how to discipline themselves and have control over their mind, their speech, and their actions. So a sage must learn how to live in the word, but not become the word, but to live above it, not to become affected by the word. And he was not perfect. He grew up and he had typical teenage years. He was very rebellious. He didn't want to listen to his master growing up, and so he learned through all that and disciplined himself eventually. The things that he learned that non-attachment to, not to be confused with indifference. Non-attachment says, I acknowledge you, I know you're beautiful, I respect you, and I'm just gonna let you be. Where indifference says, I kind of don't care that you exist. So that's not what they're trying to learn. Non-attachment is interchangeable with love to them. Okay, so they also learned that God is within you. And once you get in touch with yourself, with the true self that's within you, then you stop questioning the existence of God, because you know that God does exist. You'll see that in the creatures, you'll see that in nature, you'll see that in yourself. So you don't have to question whether or not there's God in the universe. And also, he said that one of the main things that they stress on is learning through experience. That's why his master would send him to different schools, to different sages, different sceneries, to have him learn how to live in the word and not be affected by it, and to live above the word itself. And the sages said that intuition is supreme knowledge. So while intellectual knowledge is still important, intuitive knowledge is the supreme knowledge according to the sages. He met so many great Indian philosophers and so many awesome people. He met Tagore. Tagore is one of the most famous poets from the East. The West is very familiar with him also, and such amazing people he met. He met Gandhi, and he talks a lot about the philosophy of Gandhi and everything. But I wanted to go into the foundation of Indian philosophy that he lays out. The foundation of Indian philosophy. I cannot go through every single step, but I'm going to just touch upon it a little bit. If you want the details, you can read the book, but I want to touch on it. So it's so very important. One of the best mystic philosophers of Indian philosophy is Dr. Renaid of Allahabad University. And he talks about the 7 systems of Indian philosophy. They are 1, Vedanta. The second one is yoga. Third is Sankhya. And then fourth, we have Vaisheshika. We have the fifth one as Mimamsa, and then the 6th one is Nyaya, and then the 3rd one is Buddhism. All these 7 philosophies attempt and they seek to answer these fundamental questions. Number 1, who am I? From where have I come, and why have I come? What is my relationship with the manifold universe and other human beings? The second question is, what is the essential nature of my being? And what is the essential nature of the manifested word and its cause? Thirdly, what is the relationship of the center of consciousness and the objects of the word? Fourth, what is the nature of the forms and names of the objects of the word, and how do they serve the essential nature of man or universal consciousness? The fifth question is, what are the guidelines for action as long as we live in the natural body? Do we live after we die? The 6th question is, what is truth? And how do we arrive at rational conclusions on questions of truth? The philosophy that I wanted to stress on is the philosophy of yoga. Yoga is a deeper philosophy than I had even imagined. I didn't know it was this deep. Okay, it's a philosophy that is a lot deeper than I had imagined. Anyway, so he said yoga is a system of philosophy that focuses on the individual soul who is seeking the ultimate truth. And the ultimate truth is cosmic consciousness. Okay? And yoga does not exclude any religion or any systems of philosophy. Yoga is very inclusive of any system of philosophy. And the writer who's telling us the first-hand account of his experience, he actually had experienced all kinds of religions through the stories that he's telling us. Okay, it says yoga stresses that the soul must take care of the body by purifying and strengthening it and making it strong. So it makes a commitment through stillness, in pose, and breath. And then through that, one learns to have control over their senses. The goal of yoga, the goal of the philosophy of yoga is to teach what they call kaivalya, which is translated into English as aloneness. The codifier, the guy that put the yoga system together, finally in the 1st century AD, his name is Patanjali. He wrote the Yoga Sutras, and so he systematized the Yoga Sutras. This book is one of the deepest, most extensive books that I've ever read, and I can put down everything else and just study this book for the rest of the year, and I will be okay. Okay, that's how potent and how rich it is. So he talks a lot about healing, self-healing, and healing others, and how the masters of the Himalayas, they have power over life and death. They will say, this is how they die, okay? They will say, I am leaving my body, I'm discarding my body tomorrow at so and so time. And tomorrow at so and so time, everybody will gather around, and the sage who says he's going to discard of his body will be in a deep, deep meditation. Okay? And then he will say, and then he dies. And it's not a sad death. As he talks about how death should not be something that man is afraid of. That man should learn to discipline himself to the point where man understands that he's not leaving anything behind that belongs to him, but he's going to a different adventure, so to speak, and elevating to a different level of consciousness. It is so rich. It is so rich. And he came to the States, and he has established in the States what is today the Himalayan Institute, located in Huntsdale, Pennsylvania, which I think I'm going to visit this year. I'm definitely going to visit the Himalayan mountains this year. Not the mountains, the Himalayan Institute, okay? So I get ahead of here. Anyway, so it's just, reading this book has opened my eyes. Like, I don't even know how to explain to you. There is so much about human consciousness. There's so much that we can accomplish, that if we even accomplish half of it, we can revolutionize the world of medicine. We can heal ourselves. We can heal other people. We can do so much if we just go within. Everything that we ever need in this universe to survive is inside of us. And if we can just discipline ourselves enough to get to that level, oh man, it'll revolutionize humanity altogether. But anyway, don't forget, that's my conclusion of the book. It is Black History Month. It is Black History Month for those who do not know. Okay, let me tell you, it's Black History Month, and I want to share a quote by the Queen of Black History, one of the queens of Black History, Queen Harriet Tubman. And she said this. She said, "If you hear the dogs, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop. Keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going." It is Black History Month. Harriet Tubman. Hey guys, it's Didi, and I'm on here with my second book review. Watch out for the third one, and I will see you soon, wherever you may be in the world watching this. And I always say this is my saying. I hope you have a spectacular day, night, or evening. Okay? Take care of yourself. Ciao.